Hello, and welcome back to HunterTuned. Today we are working on my Mustang, and I'm going to be showing you some new goodies that we got for it. So, if you guys don't know or haven't been following the Mustang, the last time we went out, we raced the no prep race at Wisconsin International Raceway. Car did pretty good, besides the turbo was being super lazy because it was real hot outside, and the transmission started blowing through the trans brake and would start lurching forward while the trans brake was engaged. So I ended up taking the transmission out of the car and taking it back to my transmission guy, and he got it back to me in 2 days, and it's fixed now. So he said that I forget if it was the intermediate clutches or the direct clutches, whatever, some clutches were burned out for third gear. So those were gone, and then there was also some issues with the pump. So if you guys don't know, I made another video. Before we put the transmission in the first time, I was like, I don't know, the pump seems really sketchy. Because the converter was fitting very tight, and it just didn't seem happy. So I sent it anyways, because we wanted to race the no prep race, and the transmission did work for, I think we got like 10 passes out of it or something like that. And we did go a personal best with the trans like that, 961. So we did take the trans back out, and it has a new pump in it now, and the converter is fitting much better. So I'm very happy about that. The transmission guy literally went out of his way, fixed it for free for me, and I mean, I would start tackling these transmissions, but I have such a good guy to help me out with the transmissions. I don't really dive into them a whole lot, at least the automatics, because the last couple times I've messed with automatic transmissions, they don't work. So every transmission I've gotten from this guy has always worked. Maybe had issues later down the road because of user error. I know a while there I was going through a couple 400s because I was doing first to second gear burnouts, rolling out in second gear, and that kills the sprag clutch, which in turn loses second gear. And then I was also doing some other stuff wrong this time around too with the trans brake. I'm not supposed to be using normal reverse, and I have been doing that. So definitely learned some things, and we're going to be changing up the combo on the car. We're going to be putting a Gen 2 7875 on the Mustang, and hopefully be able to go a bottom 9 or a high 8-second pass with the new turbo. So I did get the new turbo in the mail today, and here she is. This thing is looking awesome. Obviously, if you guys don't know, I am a VS Racing dealer. If you guys want to pick up a turbo, be sure to email me or message me on social media, and we can try to get you set up with a turbo. This is the newest generation of the 7875. It features a little bit different compressor wheel. It is still billet, but it has like a wavy wheel, and I don't know what that does, but it looks pretty cool. So Varen is actually telling me that this turbo is 900 horsepower capable to the wheels, you know, 1,000 or 1,000 plus horsepower to the crank capable turbo. And on a smaller engine, say if you ran this on like a sport front wheel drive car, they're good up past 1,200 horsepower on a smaller displacement motor. So a couple features about this turbo that is really cool is it actually features a 3-inch outlet for the end of the turbo here, so it can literally be the same size as the rest of my intercooler piping. Before, with the billet 80 millimeter, we had to switch the car from 4-inch outlet down to 3-inch. So, or I think it was 3.5 maybe. I think it was 3.5-inch V-band, and then we coupled it down to a 3-inch coupler. So now we'll be able to just go straight to 3-inch and not have to neck it down like we were before. We are switching to the 7875 because the billet 80 was just a little bit too big for this combo. I think if I had a little bit different camshaft, it'd be a different story, but for my combo, the 4.8 liter, you know, it just didn't really have enough to get that turbo lit up in hot weather. It could do it just fine in like 70 or colder degree day, but if it was 80 or 90 degrees outside, it just wasn't happy. So this thing should be an animal though. It has the same back housing as my 80 millimeter, so it should be able to carry that power up top, just like the 80 millimeter did. So that's one cool thing about this new Gen 7875 is it uses the giant back housing. This is a 125 AR back housing. It is a T4 flange and a 4-inch downpipe. So we can utilize our same downpipe that we already have on the car, and everything else should be pretty bolt on. Before, the V-band was on the end of this for the billet 80, and now we're switching to T4. So I did pick up a T4 to V-band adapter that I don't think is going to work because the V-band is a smidge different on the hot side of the car here. So we'll probably have to cut this off and then weld a T4 flange on, or weld whatever we got to do to make it fit. But this is the adapter that I picked up. I picked this up on eBay. It was like 35 bucks or something. So I did buy this, but I don't know if it's going to work. So we'll use something out of it, I'm sure, to make this thing fit. But anyways, me and Christian are out here today, and we're going to be throwing the transmission back in the car. The Civic is gone, the one that I've been working on, the EG hatch for Omar. I may throw a couple dyno pulls in here and show you guys that car was still having some issues. He's actually going to pick up a Honda today, and we're going to retune the car on Honda because we did have some bugs with the Chrome software that he was using, and I think something with the VTEC solenoid or the wiring. I went over the wiring, we put a new chassis harness in it and a whole bunch of stuff, but that car just was kind of something was going on with VTEC, and I think it might be the solenoid. We had a crazy VTEC solenoid issue a long time ago on an Integra that we were working on, and this is kind of a similar situation. So he's going to bring it back later, or we might do some remote tuning. That's another thing. I know I've had so many freaking requests to show you guys what remote tuning is and what it entails and all that stuff, and I do plan on making a video on that soon, but I literally just have no time lately. I don't have time to remote tune. Everybody that's been asking me to do a remote tune, I've been kind of putting off because currently I literally have no time to do it. I have been doing all this other stuff at the shop and just don't have time to do remote tuning. In the winter months in Wisconsin here is a better time to do remote tuning stuff with me. So if you guys can bear with me that long, you know, the remote tuning stuff will probably work out a lot better in your end. But currently we are backed up a few weeks on that stuff, so. Driving me nuts. So let's see here. We're on an uphill climb, but we're hitting a limiter or something. I don't know what's going on. Trying to work out the bugs on this thing has just been a treat. But anyways, we're gonna chuck this transmission in and maybe take you along for the ride. Alrighty guys, so we got the transmission installed. Didn't film anything like I always don't. Right?
I told you.
Hey, we got all the work done, sorry.
I told you you weren't going to film any of it.
I was like, oh, maybe we'll take them under the car and show them what bolt we're putting in. Nope, sorry.
Nah.
I'm sorry, guys. But anyways, transmission is in, drive shaft's back in, shifter's hooked up, tranny cooler lines are on, trans brake is wired back in, the temp sensor is wired, everything, converter bolts are tight. So yeah, now we are going to be putting the new Gen 2 7875 onto the car. We have to go get some bolts for the turbo, so we're going to be running to the hardware store quick and getting some bolts so we can connect our 3-inch V-band to T4 flange. So we have to get some bolts that go into here and then go through the turbo. So I just got this bolt right here to use as a reference. This is about the size that goes through the turbo here. We want it to be as snug fit of a bolt as possible. We don't want to run too small of a bolt because then, you know, probably wouldn't be that good. Yeah, so I got a bolt here for reference. We're going to run and go get some bolts. And we'll pick back up in a minute. Christian, and we have to get transmission fluid because we only had about a gallon here. So I'm gonna pick up another gallon or two so we have it, and then we'll be testing this sucker out. I'm excited. So we're probably gonna have to actually trim off this flange and re-weld the new flange onto the piping here and figure out where we're going to place everything. But I want to get that adapter piece bolted onto the turbo so we can just kind of hover it over where we want it, so when we cut it, we'll know where to cut this and where to weld on the new flange. Then we're also going to have to figure out what we're going to do with this as well. I hope the turbo will be able to reach this coupler. If it's not able to, then we're going to have to figure out pipe to go off of the turbo to the coupler here. So
alrighty guys. So ran to go get some bolts and nuts for the turbo. I ground down the up pipe, down pipe.
We had to grind a bolt on there.
Yeah, it was too long, so ground that sumbitch down. But now we're taking the exhaust off
because we have to weld where we connected the turbo.
Right. So, like Hunter said before, we got this flange, or the adapter, and so we just welded that straight to the pipe down there. Didn't even use the V-band because it would have been too much of a hassle.
No, it would have been too long. We had to cut the pipe down.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah. So, yeah, we just got that all tacked on, and then we're gonna pull it off, finish welding it, and slap her back on. Yeah.
Alrighty guys, so we got the Mustang new turbo installed. We skipped ahead a few steps. What's new?
We didn't even cover the turbo.
Oh, well, we got the new turbo on. We had to pretty much just take we had to take the hot side on the driver's side off, so the manifold and then all the stuff that connects down to the wastegate and everything down here. We had to take this half of the exhaust off so we could weld on the T4 flange, and we had to lower the turbo a little bit because the way that it was sitting before with the 80 mil obviously was a lot different housing and stuff like that, so it sat a lot higher with where the 80 millimeter configuration was. So we lowered the turbo back down. It's sitting in here exactly how my old 7875 was, and we just got a 90 intercooler coupler off of this guy. We got to use the same downpipe. I didn't even have to modify it. We just made sure everything was going to fit with the downpipe how it was. And then I actually redid the intercooler piping on this side a little bit. We got a 90 straight off the intercooler, and then we just have a 90 off the turbo and a 90-degree 3-inch pipe. So that is all good to go. That's actually better than the situation I had on there before, because I had this little 45 off of there, and then I had the 90, and then I had another 90. So eliminated one or two couplers on this end of this situation. This side I haven't touched, obviously I didn't need to. So that intercooler side is all good. We had to take the bumper off because I actually trimmed out a little bit more of my engine bay here to clear the new intercooler coupler situation there. Yeah, so everything is looking really good. We got the oil lines installed. These fittings are all usually the same for all of the Vren turbos, unless you're talking like the GTX series. Those use a little bit different feed and return fittings, but nonetheless, the old ones off the 80 fit perfectly on here. Without further ado, we're gonna get the bumper back on this thing and put it back down on the ground. We already fired it up, and everything seems like it's running good. No exhaust leaks, so that's cool. And the transmission shifting, not leaking, so that's another plus. We guessed on the fluid, we got it right, it's full. So yeah, we're gonna get this thing back down on the ground and get the bumper on, and maybe I'll put on the brake right away. We'll see. Alrighty guys, so I actually just went around the block with the car with the new turbo, and the transmission shifts super good.
Does it?
Like, I think the guy put a new pump in it because I think the old pump was causing issues for a while. Because like third gear has never grabbed so hard in this thing. Like it just like cruising. You can leave it in second, and normally it would bleed off and run into third gear.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like
yeah.
If I left it in second, it would automatically shift to third.
Right.
And now it doesn't do that.
Really?
Like I can leave it in second and it just sits there and screams. And then I grab third and it's like, thunk, goes right in. So transmission's working really good. So I'm gonna put this thing on the brake. I'm going to go in the tune here and actually lower the two-step down because the two-step currently is too high for this small of a turbo. So yeah, we're going to put it at 4,500.
Right.
We're gonna put it at like 35 or 38.
I think 38. That sounds right.
Alrighty guys, so I was gonna put this thing up on the trans brake, but my laptop is giving me more issues. So I'm honestly ready to just get a different laptop because I feel like this laptop literally hates tuning, period.
Right.
I don't know what it is or what the deal is, but I feel like I have a lot of bugs with this laptop specifically. And I had to do this at the track when we raced the no prep, and I'm trying to like get the ECU to talk to the Megasquirt, and it's saying that the ECU definition is different from what the software version is here to the computer, and it says download from online, and then I download from online and it doesn't download from online. It just sits here. So yeah, I don't know. Any Megasquirt people out there, if you guys can help me, feel free to reach out and help me with this gold box. Just because I'm transferring everything over to this new laptop here is just being a pain in the rear. So whatever, we're just gonna send it. I'm gonna bring it up on the brake a little bit just to kind of see how everything is coming on, and yeah, make sure it's all safe and stuff. I just want to see how fast this thing spools up on the brake.
Wow. Yeah.
Alrighty guys, so I definitely need to play with the tune a little bit. The two-step is super rowdy, like, I mean, it doesn't take long at all for it to build boost now, so I'm hoping that it continues to stay like that, and everything is good on the setup. Hopefully this turbo works out, makes good power, and everything like that. It is spooling up way faster than the other one, obviously it's smaller, so. Anyways, have a great night and a better tomorrow. Hopefully you enjoyed the video, and we will catch you later. Deuces.